Hi everyone, it's Mr. Collinson here. I've been asked to do a video on how you can do some retrieval practices at home. This is going to help with your blended learning as when you are going to start to go into college and academy for 2 weeks, and you'll be expected to do work whilst there, and obviously you'll be expected to do some revision stuff of the stuff you learn in school at home as well. So that being said, what I wanted to talk to you about today was a way in which we can use our revision cards to help us to revise. Okay, now I know for a fact that flashcards are something that some students will obsess over. They will make it their be-all and end-all to get some beautifully highlighted and fantastically pretty revision cards. Now, I am of the opinion that unless you do something with those revision cards, then they're not much use. Okay, they can be as highlighted and as beautiful as you want, but unless you actually do something with them, they're not a massive amount of use. Mr. Taylor will be telling you to kind of how to make the perfect note card, but I want to look at how we can go about using these revision cards slightly differently. So that being said, what I want us to talk about first of all is what I've done to my so-called revision cards. Now what you can see here is all I've done is I've literally put a question on one side. Now obviously these are post-it notes, but obviously you'll be getting revision cards. I'll put a question on one side and the answer on the back. Okay, so who's the best science teacher? Obviously it's me. Okay, so that's all I've done. I've just gone through and I've done about 6 or 7 for the process of this video. Now as part of that, what I would say is you could very easily do this with the keywords from knowledge organisers, the keywords from whatever revision sessions or lessons resources you've been given, and you could do some very straightforward, what does this mean, here's the answer, or if it was a calculator, if it was for physics, you could have what is the formula for acceleration, and on the back you could have the formula itself. So there's different ways of questions that you can get, and this is going to really help your recall if done properly. Now what I'm going to do is just above my questions I'm going to put a number 1, a number 2 and a number 3. Okay, now what I would suggest is at the start of the week you potentially start building your questions, and as you build your collection of questions obviously keep them organized, keep them safe, and you won't have to build them and revisit them. But then we're going to start sectioning them off, so 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so that's all we need to do so far. Once we've got our 3 piles, what I'm going to do underneath is I'm going to put an F underneath the 3. I'm going to put basically an ED underneath the 1. And I'm going to put a, oh my pen's not working, I'm going to put a T and another T underneath, okay, underneath the 2. So this stands for every day. So everything that goes into number 1 you are going to look at every single day. Everything that goes into number 2 you're going to look at every Tuesday and Thursday, and number 3 is for Friday. Now this system I've obviously modeled it on the 5-day week. Okay, as you go into schools on different days you might want to change this around a bit. The key fact is you're going to do every day, maybe every other day, and the end of the week. That's kind of what we're looking at here. So it's every single day, every other day, end of the week. Okay, so 3 piles for kind of 3 different times a week, and this is something you'll do hopefully, you know, as often as you can. Maybe go through this once a week. Again, once you've got the questions set up, so maybe spend a day on the Monday, maybe spend half an hour making some questions each week, add to your collection, and then go through and start using them. Okay, because again, using these cards is very, very important. So how do we use these cards then? Well, as I'm hoping you may have kind of thought about now, we've got questions and answers on. So what I'm going to do, okay, is I'm just going to start to go through these questions. Now you could very easily have a parent, carer, sibling, whoever else. These people could ask you these questions to you, but you can also just quiz yourself. Now let's say I start the first one. Who's the best science teacher? Well, that's Mr. Conson. I know that. I've got it right. That is going to go onto pile 2. Okay. The next one we're going to look at is what is the acidic ion? What is the ion that makes things acidic? Okay. Now I'm going to say it's H+. It's hydrogen. It's a hydrogen ion. So I'm going to check. Absolutely right. It's hydrogen. So that goes into number 2 as well. Then let's have a look at this one. So this one's a biology question. What happens when an enzyme gets too hot? Oh, I don't know that one. I can't think it off about the top of my head. I can't remember. Oh, it's denatured. So I've got that one wrong, and it goes into pile 1. Okay. Now the first time you do this, we're going to go. You just go through, quiz yourself, and put them into the different piles. Okay. So we'll split them in half for now. So some are in the first pile, some are in the second pile. I don't want to touch these 2 piles. So now I've had a sleep, I've had some breakfast, I've come back to it refreshed and ready to go. This is now on the following day, okay? So the next time I come back to this, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this pile here, this pile that I got right, the pile that I got yesterday. I'm just going to quickly go through them. So formula for sodium chloride, NaCl, fantastic, I've got it right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this into number 3, okay? Then, it's the acidic ion one, wasn't it? It was helium, wasn't it? So, no, it's hydrogen, so I've got that wrong. That now goes back into group 1, okay? And likewise, who's the best science teacher? It's obviously Mr. Collinson. That goes into number 3. So then, I'm going to look at my first pile. These are the ones I got wrong yesterday. So, in terms of my mastery of this topic, these are the ones that I don't know. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go here in 2 types of forces, contact and non-contact. Oh, there we go. I've got it right. That goes into pile 2. What is needed for photosynthesis? I think it needs oxygen, doesn't it? Oh, wait, no, it's carbon dioxide, sunlight, chlorophyll. I've still got that one wrong. Stays in group 1. What happens when an enzyme gets too hot? It was denatured, wasn't it, if I remember right? Yep, denatured. Fantastic. That goes into group 2. Acidic ion, hydrogen, group 2. So now what you can start to see is I'm starting to build questions that I'm getting wrong, that I'm getting right, and these ones that I've kind of mastered. Okay? So the following day, we're going to leave group 2 alone now, because we're doing this every other day. The following day, I'm just going to focus on group 1. I'm going to go through these as much as possible, see if I can get them right. Again, if I get them right, get them wrong, they'll either go into group 1 or 2. Now let's say we're getting to the following day, we go through all of these, and then let's say some are now going over into here, into the final group for the end of the week. Now, we don't just forget about these are not finished with. The idea is by the end of the week, everything hopefully has moved over into here, because you've rinsed and repeated these 2 groups, so your groups 1 and your group 2, as often as you can, and they have moved over into this group 3, which again is this kind of mastery topic. At the end of the week, on that Friday, you are now going to pick this pile up and you are going to go through them and you are going to make sure that you have got them again, so you don't forget about them. So what is needed for photosynthesis? Carbon dioxide, chlorophyll, sunlight, fantastic. Water, fantastic. That stays in group 3. Acidic ion, helium, it's hydrogen, damn it, that goes into group 1. And again, we go through, so anything you get right constantly, so who is the best teacher? Definitely, that's Mr. Constant, it goes over there. Formula for sodium chloride, I think it's lithium bromide, no, sodium chloride, so group 1. 2 types of forces, pushing, pulling, oh no, that's wrong, it's contact and non-contact, right, group 1. And then we've got our piles ready for Monday morning. So we've got the ones we've got wrong, and the ones that we have mastered, which we're going to come back to next week. So on Monday, what we could do is we could start getting some more questions made. So we can maybe do some from chemistry module 2. So we could talk about something from a specific module. You could organise your questions where you've got a set of B1, a set of B2, C1, C2, and so on. You could very easily alter your questions and organise them in that way. Okay. But what we've got here is a pile of questions. I've got my strengths and I've got my weaknesses. Next week, I'm going to start with my weaknesses. I can add some more questions so the piles get bigger, but I'm going to start with my weaknesses again, and hopefully this pile will grow. But remember, if I get to the end of the week again and I get these wrong, then they come back over here. So there's this element of constantly making sure that we are testing ourselves, and more importantly, it's rinse and repeat, and it will start to stick in our head. We are not forgetting about our strengths. We are still coming back to them at the end of each week, but we can start to analyse our strengths and weaknesses. And let's say there's a common theme of the questions on biology are constantly going into group 1. So everything on photosynthesis, respiration, digestion, that's constantly being in group 1. What I then need to do is I need to go away and focus on these topics by using Seneca, by using revision guides, by using anything else that we're going to talk about in these other videos, we can focus on the stuff that keeps going into group 1, and that's where our revision can kind of guide us. Okay, so we're giving ourselves feedback as well. If everything's in group 2 but keeps going back between 2 and 1, hopefully what we'll start to see is this shift over to here. Okay, and if it's not shifting over to here and we're just accessing it every so often and it's just coming back and backwards and forwards, then what we need to be able to do is we need to go away and potentially have a look at these topics as well. So we are retrieving it, we are revising it, we are practicing our knowledge, and we are giving ourselves feedback for strengths and weaknesses. If you've got any questions on this, feel free to email me, feel free to give me a shout. But again, it's a very strong method of revision when combined with everything else we're going to be talking about.